We're here today to talk about real estate.
Hello and welcome to episode 22 of the Real Estate Unlimited podcast. My name's Sierra Steinmetz.
Brian Schuby.
I'm Bill Jones.
And this is the Jones Home Team.
And we got a special guest here. We got Mackenzie Davenport joining us. So thanks for coming by.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Mackenzie Davenport Bookkeeping, or it's Davenport Bookkeeping, all right? I should
Davenport
Financial Services. Like you do all our bookkeeping and taxes. I should know that. So I'm on the wrong page here. I was going to show everybody what that looks like. Carrie's a little under the weather. Mackenzie was on short notice here, stepped up and was able to join us. So she's going to bring some perspective on bookkeeping and just kind of every guy, real estate ideas then. So today we're talking building prices, right? That kind of rolls right into like the tariffs and things like that are happening. When you're listening to this, it's probably a little bit behind. But this is when a lot of these tariffs are supposed to start rolling out. See what they're going to do affecting build prices, home availability, what that kind of looks like with some of the border things then too. Again, this is all like big issue stuff, has really nothing to do with our little corner of Northwest Ohio, but it does also affect us. So, not that we're some kind of pundits or talking heads, but we'll get into that. We'd, of course, have some fun stuff. Sierra, what were you talking about?
Some interior design tips and tricks and ideas and stuff like that. So
cool stuff. She brought some cool boards with that. And of course, we got a couple of fun things then too. So Shub, we'll have you kick us off here. What are we looking at?
Yeah, well,
kind of like,
kind of like what you said. Trump, I think his tariffs kick in here this week potentially. And obviously that could affect lumber prices and new construction prices, especially with lumber. 25% of lumber used in the U.S. does come from Canada. So obviously, if you add a 25% tariff on top of the fee that they already have, it comes out to about 39% total tariffs that Canadian lumber would have then, which could result in a lumber supply shock then, obviously, which would drive up prices pretty significantly. And also taking
total of 39%?
39%.
Because I saw something was they already have a 14%.
So that must be on top of the 25.
Okay.
25. Yep. And then also kind of like what we had talked about, I guess, before we went on, obviously with all the California wildfires and obviously people needing to rebuild there. If they're taking a lot of lumber and stuff like that, you're already in a deficit, and then adding a tariff on top of that is obviously going to kind of change how people look at the building prices then. And I know you got pulled up there.
You were looking at this chart this morning here from.
Yep, you can actually kind of track the building prices and see where they're at then. And I know obviously you can see they have kind of gone up here recently from where they were.
So this is price. You told me this morning. Price per
1,000 square or. Price per
board foot?
Board foot,
yes.
1,000 board foot.
Do you know how many board foot you need to build your place?
I have absolutely no idea.
Because that's a new one on me. I wasn't sure. But yeah, it's obviously gone up, though. So, and then the market's reacting crazy then, too. Yeah, everything's kind of dumping just on some of these tariff concerns,
and I think prices may go up here until people actually see what the effect actually is on the economy and stuff like that.
So I haven't followed this real close, but yeah, obviously everybody's concerned about it, what that's going to do for pricing. And I don't know, Mackenzie, have you guys seen, not to put you on the spot here, have you guys, it's all so new, I don't know if that's kind of crept into your world or not yet. Is anybody worried about it or saying anything about it, or is that?
The only thing that we have heard from a lot of our clients is what's going to happen when they get rid of taxes. And I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Right.
I think that things are going to change. But if you think about on the state and local side, the states and the localities are still going to collect their taxes. So we're still going to have tax returns to file.
Sure.
But as far as the tariff thing, I don't really know what it's going to look like, but I don't think that they're going to completely eliminate income tax.
Because I've heard that then too. They said they're going to replace the federal tax from the tariff income or something. That was something that was bandied about. I don't know if it's actually happening.
I don't know.
They're working towards that. Would that be good or bad for your industry? I don't know.
I don't know. It'd definitely be a change.
Right. All right. Well, I guess part of that kind of goes into, so like Shub, you hit on this with the LA things. I mean, I'm sure they're going to have to rebuild I don't even know how many homes, thousands, tens of thousands of places and homes. So that's obviously going to affect that. But the flip side of it, I kind of moving into it would be the immigration stuff. I had some notes here then with it too here. I guess getting rid of quite a few immigrants that are here, moving them out, what that's going to do to the labor force. So not only are prices for the material going to go up then, but then the labor force supposedly is going to drop dramatically if they do end up getting a lot of people sent out of the country. It had stats. It was, I don't know, it was like 37% are undocumented. So that in the build trades, I think it was 37% they're estimating it as part of, or would be undocumented, or, people that aren't here, I guess natural citizens, I guess anyway. So if you get rid of them too, on top of prices of material going up, I think it's going to make it, I don't know.
Yeah, and
quite a bit higher.
I've heard a couple of people been like, well, people are going to be able, people that are here are going to be able to take the homes of those that are, being taken out or leaving the country or whatever. But I don't think that there's still going to be enough room there. I definitely still think we're going to be in a housing shortage for sure.
Yeah. And I saw the one argument then too from the NAR. I think it was saying that there was a lot of those people rent versus buy then too. But I mean, there's already a shortage on rentals as well. I don't know if that, even if that opens up some, I feel like that's going to get gobbled up just as quickly anyways. Yep. I don't know if it's going to make a big opening. So, all right. Well, obviously we don't have the answers. We don't know what these tariffs are going to do or not do. I don't know if anybody really does. Kind of a big mystery at the moment. We'll see. Time will tell and what that does for pricing. But I mean, these prices have been up even higher not that long ago.
Well, if you go back maybe like the 5 year, because that would probably include the 2024 area.
This goes back to 22.
That'd be COVID then.
Yeah.
So because I know they were like almost $700 during COVID. So I would say they're still down from where they once were, but. So I would say if you're going to be building soon, you need to double check with your builder to make sure there's no changes or anything like that.
With your pricing?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, well, Sierra, you're talking about some of the fixes and stuff. Just even locally, have you guys looked at any prices of lumber just going into Lowe's? I mean, I don't know if you paid that close attention to any of that yet.
We haven't had to go that route yet.
Okay. Well, we don't know. We don't have the answers, but I mean, it's worth the conversation, I guess. Pay attention to it and... Yeah, shoot. I don't know. For your sake, I hope the prices come down a little bit here soon. Because when's your lock-in time? That's got to be coming up here.
We're hoping first week of March, so we'll see.
So perfect timing for the world to kind of come unglued for you then. So that's fantastic. All right, Sierra, let's get into it here. What do you got? I pulled up on your notes there, you had said something about Pinterest. So I had to figure out how to relog back into Pinterest because I haven't been in there in a minute. And I found Kelly and I have our decks, our pool ideas, deck ideas, stuff like that. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's fun. And this is kind of a piggyback off of a topic that Carrie had wanted to get into last week. Just creating spaces for you that you're going to love instead of following the cookie cutter minimalism norm. Nothing wrong with that at all. But I think that a lot of people I see like starting to decorate a home when they get through renovations or purchasing whatever, and then they're to the point of decorating and they have ideas, but then it's kind of overwhelming because you hop on Pinterest and you see this, that, and the other, and you don't know where to go from there, or you don't necessarily want it to be the same modern type, like no personality or creativity. It's just very uniform. So kind of a way to combat that is almost treating Pinterest like it's a dating platform. So if you have kind of an idea of kind of a certain like aesthetic or style, just throwing those keywords in, seeing what pops up, and then just starting broad, pinning anything that you like, and not even just Pinterest, but any site like this, or if you're going through magazines, whatever it is, and just kind of compiling everything that you like, and then actually taking a look maybe a couple of days later when you've gotten through the thick of it and being like, oh wait, I don't think I really actually like that. Yeah, like goodbye, whatever, and then narrowing it down from there. And because a lot of things, I know, especially I feel like you two probably haven't had to deal with this much because you have lovely wives with great style that probably picked everything out for you when it comes to decor. But
lovely wife, yes, I helped pick a lot of stuff out though.
But when it comes to deciding, you might think you know what style you want, and then if you kind of go through it, like if I was standing next to you and you were saying, oh, I kind of want an industrial rustic type look, and then you're telling me what you like and what you don't like, and then I'm like, oh, actually that's a completely different style. If you don't know, you don't know what you don't know. So just kind of narrowing it down, putting it together.
So I know my style when my wife tells me what my style is. That's kind of what I'm gathering what you're saying, right?
Something I like to use is vision boards, which I have some.
We'll let her grab those here then too. I was just kind of chuckling some of these pins we have here. I know I added some of these, but I think a lot of these were Kelly then. And I think you're right. It is kind of funny going back to that. A lot of this stuff is, I mean, some of the stuff is like MTV Cribs.
Right.
Like it's like anything else. Same thing as the food stuff that's popping up here. It looks amazing here, but when you actually make it, it's like, that doesn't look anything like that, or I can't afford that.
And what's great about it, too, is you can see 4 different things, and maybe you like 1 or 2 things from each different room that's pictured, and then, boom, just put the things you like together. As long as they can be cohesive, maybe they need altered, whatever, and then that's how you kind of get to your final destination of however you wanted it to look at the end.
The way you described this is literally how we built our house. It was the same thing. We picked out like different parts from different model homes that we liked. So it was kind of just a collage of multiple homes then.
Yeah, I'm always for customization. Obviously, like your situation may not always be able to provide that, but if you can kind of, like this here, this was something I made for someone else, and basically they weren't sure what they wanted, but had a little bit of an idea, and so I kind of gave them 2 choices of style, and this is all just off my brain, hodgepodge, tape, printer, scissors, whatever.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
I had
Pinterest.
fun doing it, but and just kind of giving people options to see where they could go either way, how you can blend the 2. Down here, kind of like adding in accent rugs and stuff like that to tie it all together, because you can start from just a regular stock photo of something, but then when you add in your own little sprinkles of your style or your preference, whatever it may be, and then going toward the point of picking and choosing. Yep, this one here.
I got it. Yep.
Picking and choosing. This was just examples, but like if you like this floor and then this color, whatever, blah, 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 maybe there's not a final destination that's a photo that already exists, but you can kind of create that from something else that does, and bits and pieces going around. So I don't know. Vision boards are how I kind of get my brain together, because like these took forever, but that's because I needed to be able to figure out and decide what was actually going to work.
I love the upfront. And it's just like our vision boards at the office.
Yeah.
Like when you're trying to come up with something here, it's great to have it up front and visual in front of you. Then it makes a big difference. Actually, kind of bring it home. We move on to the next one.
Yeah,
I
and
like
then
that one.
just kind of giving different options, different styles, what one thing might look like. The kitchen especially, I kind of knew what that person was sort of looking for from what they thought. So kind of finding a mix of a couple different things there. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's the most efficient way to, if you have the time, even, and like it doesn't have to be all explanatory like this, just throwing some stuff on a board so you can see it, or if it's digitally in a doc, whatever works for you.
Well, I can't tell you, if I did this, it wouldn't look near as cool. It'd probably be illegible. I don't know if you'd even be able to read it. So
definitely a little bit of a passion project for me, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's the most efficient way to kind of, if you have a lot of ideas and you want to work some creativity in, but you don't know how to get from like brainstorming to an executed plan, which I really struggle with a lot of the time. If you can find a way to visualize and then pick and choose and maybe hone in on certain things rather than others, I think that's the most efficient way to kind of go about it without spending a bunch of time or going with something because you just saw it and you kind of liked it, and then it's been a month and you're like, oh wait, I hate that paint color, or I hate how that stylistic choice went, because that's no fun. But yeah, I don't know.
I love it. All right, from a tax perspective, Mackenzie, so if I put a deck on my house and I use it to host work parties, is it a write-off then? Is that how that works? Is that?
There is actually the Augusta rule. I've talked to you about that before.
You have, yes.
Basically, if you own a business and you can rent your house out to your business up to, I think it's 14 days out of the year.
Yeah.
As long as it's a reasonable price.
$1 million a week
or
something.
Yeah, that's for your house probably.
Yeah, that would be, I love that idea.
Yeah.
We'll have to look into that. One other thing I can send you a YouTube video on here that we need to figure out then. So
I'll be sending out invitations for Bill's party at his house.
Right. I got to run it by the wife here
weeks.
first. So.
Remax pool party.
Yeah. I love it. So Mackenzie, like with this, do people come to you for budgeting? Like how, I guess, I'm not sure what all people ask you for things like this, or do they just do something and say, how do I figure it out or write it off? Or, I mean, do people preemptively try to budget things out or figure that out?
Most of the time when I'm having conversations like this with people, it's people that have rental properties that they're trying to update.
Oh, sure.
Because unfortunately, a lot of the personal upgrades that you do for your house aren't deductible on your taxes, so it's not anything that involves me. But we do offer budgeting services for individuals, so that would be people like people that are trying to build that maybe are tight on cash and want to budget so that they can save some money in order to build eventually. Mm-hmm. Especially important now, I feel like, because we're unsure what the prices are going to do. So I think it's huge to get a plan in place and make sure you're ready when the time comes, because if the prices keep hiking up, you might have to pull the trigger sooner than you really thought. So.
Right. So what are some fun ways? I love listening to like Dave Ramsey and things like that. And he's always like, no, you should pay cash for everything. You shouldn't borrow money ever. But I mean, in some circumstances, you could, I'm probably just thinking out loud here, not to put you on the spot, but like if you did a home equity line of credit and borrowed that, I mean, then you can write off some of that interest, right on your taxes and things. Like there's, I guess, some creative things you could do. Yep.
As long as the home equity line is used for home improvements, you can't pull it out for a car and then write that off.
Right.
But yeah, you can do that.
What about like high efficiency furnaces or even spray foam insulation or something like that? Or some of those tax deductible then?
Those are tax deductible. So you can kind of double up on those. If you have to pull out of a home equity line to pay for those things, you get the interest deduction and then also a home energy credit for improving energy efficient improvements on your home.
Okay.
So you can kind of double dip into that if you have to use your home equity line for big purchases like that.
I like that.
Which is really cool.
Now, do people come to you first, or do they do it and then say, hey, how do I figure that out?
Yeah, they do it first usually. And then they're like, here, I did this.
That's kind of the stuff we run into too. Someone's like, hey, I already did this, or I'm under contract. What do you think about this? And it's like, well, it's kind of too late now. I guess it is what it is. We'll make the best of the situation. But
yeah.
So that's fun. So, any crazy recent, like what if people come to you about it? Like what's like the craziest deduction ideas now or things?
My favorite thing right now is switching from an LLC to an S Corp.
Okay. Yeah.
It's something that's super beneficial for owners. Unfortunately, like you have to be within an income range, a net income range of your business for it to work really well. But it unlocks some other tax deductions that aren't available if you're just a regular LLC. For example, like if you have, if you're the sole owner and you have an S Corp filing, then you can now like reimburse yourself for medical expenses. So
okay.
And if you were an LLC, those would only be deductible if you had enough to itemize at the end of the year, which is the standard deduction is now over $14,000. So if you didn't have over $14,000 of medical expenses, then you're not going to reach enough to itemize. So you switch to an S Corp, you can now reimburse yourself through the company for those medical expenses, and that's an expense to the business, so you're lowering your net income. So you're deducting that before it even comes to your tax return. So that's super cool. That's my favorite thing right now. Also, paying your kids is a huge thing. Right.
That's awesome, because some of the people that listen are real estate agents here. We kind of focus on that then as well, the general public and then real estate agents, and they're all, for the most part, 1099 independent contractors. So that's good to know then.
I'd say if you're between like 75,000 and 150,000, you're right in the perfect spot to switch to S Corp.
S Corp then? Yep. So, and you made that pretty painless, I think, for the most part, for the couple you told me about then anyway. So that's cool. All right. Well, I found that thing as far as for the workers. They're saying, sorry, I'm switching gears, so going back to that. I thought this was interesting. So, not alleviating housing shortage, economists fear deporting millions of undocumented people. So, account for 23%. I was wrong. I said 30-something. 23% of the construction workforce, 29% of painters, 32% of roofers, 38% of drywall and ceiling installers, 25% of masons, and 24% of carpet and floor installers. So,
wow.
Yeah, that's a big percentage of people that are, I guess, non-citizens, doing a lot of work here. This article, who was this written by here? I guess I'll give credit. We'll link all this stuff up then too. It seemed kind of left-leaning. We don't like to get political, but it seemed pretty left. But then at the bottom, they NAR came in and just basically said they didn't expect it to be that big a problem. Kind of to your point, Brian, too, that it's, some of that stuff that opens up is going to get gobbled back up immediately almost. So I don't know. None of us have a crystal ball. It's hard. All big topics.
Yeah. So my husband and I have been, we're projecting to build a house hopefully within the next few years. What would you recommend? Would you recommend jumping on that sooner rather than later, or kind of We've just been waiting to see if something's going to change and the prices are going to give a little bit, but
Yeah, I mean, as far as the process, kind of like where we're at in our situation. So we had bought our land a couple of years ago. Obviously, we still owe on it. So if you're interested in building, I think Bill did this when he built. I would for sure be looking for land now and at least purchase that and hopefully get some of that paid off. So that way you build equity, and then you can use that equity as part of your down payment and closing costs and those sorts of things. So the more you can pay down on that land, I think it's more beneficial to you in the long run.
okay.
Yeah, that helps a lot. So we found people most successful if they can identify that lot, get it hopefully paid for, and then use that equity, like Brian was saying, to use that against your mortgage on building. But like everything, it doesn't seem like it's gotten any cheaper. Purchasing an existing home, building a home. I mean, just since Kelly and I built, 6 years ago, prices have gone. I thought they were
What
insane.
did we say? Almost $100 a square foot
Yeah,
from yours to what I was
at that time.
Wow.
I was like ready to flip the builder's desk over. Like, are you kidding me? That much per square foot? I mean, he was talking like 130 to 150. I'm like, you're insane. That's incredible. Like nobody's going to pay that much. Right? Yeah. Now that's killer. So at that time, 150 to 160 was fairly high end. 175. I mean, you got a killer finishes, and I think the base build price is now $225, $230, something like that.
$250. Yeah, a lot of our
per
local
square
builders.
foot. So yeah, Mackenzie, I don't know. Probably the sooner the better, but I think it's one of those you need to make it. I mean, that your finance is better than any of us here, but as far as like what that looks like, you got to financially be in a spot for it to make sense. Existing home, this home, I think you want to make sure that it's you can put enough down to where you're not over leveraged into the house, then, or you're upside down on your equity, I guess. So. But yeah, there's a couple articles here. Home prices still hit record high. So despite cooling demand, the prices are still going up. Prices of materials still going up. Labor costs, I'm sure, are going to continue to keep going up. So I don't know that it's going to get any better at all. So yeah, Brian, you're crabbing about what it costs today. Then 6 years from now, it's probably the same thing as Kelly and I. It's probably going to seem like a deal then. I don't know. I have no idea. Or it all goes...
Yeah,
all goes to hell in a handbasket. And we're all upside down. I don't know. I'm not sure what it is. But yeah, we get this question all the time about pricing. We see different numbers, but everyone I've seen, it's still saying it's going to be up. So forecast for 2025 through Fannie Mae's 3.5% increase. They're thinking a year after 1.7, but that's different than the article we saw 2 weeks ago, I think. The prices were still through 2029. We're going to continue to trend up then. So I don't know if it's going to get cheaper. So when you guys maybe sell your existing house, if you do that, you get more money for it. It's kind of that world around question. People, they don't want to buy when prices are up, but the flip side of that, they'll get more for their house that they're selling now. They want to wait for prices to come down. Well, prices do come down. They're going to get less for their existing home then, more often than not, maybe not always. So I guess no one's got the crystal ball. Yeah. There's no wrong or right time to do it. Like we always kind of default back to, does it make sense for you and your family? If it makes sense to get a bigger house, different house, make it work. But yeah, I don't know how you get it. We always talk interest rates and things too. When if you're in a super low interest rate, I don't know if yours off the top of your head, does it make sense to ditch that and then go to a 7 or 8% build rate then?
It's a pretty big bullet to bite.
Yeah.
Because we're at 3% right now.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think you can get anything under
6,
I don't know how
you beat that. I really don't. You know what I mean? That's crazy. There was the other article here. I'll link that up then to. I can find it. I don't know where it went. But yeah, same kind of thing. So many people are kind of stuck in their pricing now that it doesn't make sense for them to kind of come off of that because it is at such a big swing. So. All right, let's do a couple fun things here and we'll get the heck out of here then. Reddit, I always love coming to this here if I can find it. There was a couple fun ones that popped up here. We had a recent one like this that kind of felt, so buyer asking for mediation a year and a half after purchase. Carrie, if she was here, I was going to have her talk about it. She had one that kind of resurfaced. It was a deal we weren't even directly involved with, but it was 3 years later they're coming back asking for stuff to get remedied with the house or addressed with the house yet. So again, it was a deal we weren't even directly involved with, but that stuff does happen. So again, going to making sure you get your ducks in a row kind of up front. This might have been what I was thinking about. Yeah, we're stupid to give up our, 2.875% interest rate on a house. When you're flipping right into a 7.5%. I think, Brian, didn't we just look at that on rates? It seemed like they were heading up then, too, from some of these tariff or the T-bill things were going up
7,
from there.
Yeah, 7.25.
Right. We'll end on this one here. I thought this one's kind of funny. We run into this a lot. So buyers asking for everything in the inspection to be fixed. So they're selling a starter home. They thought it was in great condition. They've done more than $50,000 of improvements over 5 years. But, of course, they had a home inspection done, and the buyer's asking for literally everything on the inspection report to be fixed. So you guys come across
Good
that?
luck.
Yeah, right, yeah. So I know, Mackenzie, when you guys bought, you knew you weren't ended up with a perfect house or stuff. I mean, did you expect that to be?
No, we didn't expect anything to be fixed, and we actually we had it was a private sell, so
right.
Bill helped us, but there's definitely a lot of things that are wrong with our house, but I mean, it's a place to live and it treats us very well, but there were some things that we found after we purchased it, and we were like, man, we kind of wish we would have negotiated a little bit. But if you remember the guy we bought our house from, he wasn't very easy to negotiate with.
He was a tough bird, that was for sure. So he did himself all right with that stuff as far as just being stubborn, I guess. I will just put it that way. So, but I mean, what do you guys? You're in a deal then. Somebody wants. Have you had that? I want everything fixed. They seem like they want an obscene amount of things fixed from the inspection report.
I think I've never had anyone ask for a laundry list of things to be done. I think usually I think getting them to the inspection when there might be quite a few things that get pointed out is probably the best way to go about it, because if you have a good inspector, they're going to explain to them what is necessary to be fixed right now and what is more of a maintenance item or maybe just needs serviced or whatnot. But to them, when they get a 40-page inspection report in their email, they're like, oh God, this house is literally going to fall off like the edge of its seams. So I don't know. I think either just you being able to have a conversation with them, just explain piece by piece what's actually going to be a glaring issue compared to what is more just they're an inspector and it's their job to pick the house apart, and they're going to let you know what could be an issue, what if you don't take care of it will be an issue, things like that, and what is outright just you need to either ask them to fix that or that needs to be first on your list when you purchase the home. So instead of them, it's 11 p.m. They've got the report. They're finally able to read it, and then they're blowing
That seems to be when it is. This house is falling apart. That's it. I want part of that to your credit. Probably you being proactive. Maybe having that conversation beforehand. Maybe being there, having them there to talk to the inspector makes a big difference. Then, Brian, I know you've had some fun ones at different times.
I mean, I think kind of like what you just said. I think if you go in, you let them know, hey, look, things are going to come up on the home inspection. Just be prepared. We just need to work through, what needs to be done and what can kind of, like what Sierra said, be a maintenance item that you could take care of down the road. I think that's one of the big things you can do, just kind of alleviate some of that before the inspection actually happens. All right.
So then as far as budgeting that stuff, Mackenzie, how do we budget in? So I think when people are I know Brian's talked with you about that when you're building or wanting to buy, again, are people ever proactive coming to you saying, hey, I'm thinking about building, I'm thinking about buying, how do I need to set things up?
Most of the time, the people that are coming to us in preparation for that are people who are kind of tight already.
Right.
So the budget almost always looks like we use the debt stacking method a lot. So most of the time they have credit card debt, student loans, car loans, whatever.
Sure.
So we'll create a plan to stack that debt for the next 6-8 months and see where they're at. That way their debt to income ratio is a little bit easier on the eyes. So from the lending standpoint, they can get that. So a lot of the times when they're coming to us, it's because they can't get approved because their debt to income ratio isn't good enough. And so we help them with a plan on how we can get them to the point where they'll get approved for the mortgage.
Okay, get me curious. So debt stacking, is that kind of like that snowball, like Dave Ramsey thing?
Yep, it's Dave Ramsey. So it's if you have like $100 payment and then a $300 payment, once you pay off the one that's $100, then you add that to the $300, and then once you pay that $400 off, then you add it to the next loan.
Just
so you
keep knocking them out then.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Are people effective with that? I always hear them talk about that.
Yeah, it's a really good strategy because if you think about it, you're already used to paying that amount. So if you keep paying that amount, it's not going to make any difference on that on the back end of it, because you're still not used to having that money. And then once you're finished with it, most of the time we try to push them into putting money into retirement or a savings account or something, because most of the time when people have this much debt and they have to use the debt stacking method, they're probably not putting anything away for retirement.
Oh,
So that's the final step is, okay, you're already used to spending $1,000 a month on stuff, put at least 500 of it away, because if not, you're gonna have to work till you die.
Right.
That's
man.
exactly when I paid my car off. I just took that payment and started contributing that to my Roth instead of what I already had, just the smaller amount. Just took that car payment amount and added it to it, because I was already paying that. Yeah.
Yep.
That's not so. I wish everybody could get rid of as much of that, like, it's consumer debt as possible. But I mean, is that pretty common still? People have no saving. I hear these national stats all the time. People have almost no savings, ton of credit card debt, you know, the commercial debt or consumer debt. I don't know what you call that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, like, we'll prepare tax returns, and we'll have people that are like 30 to 50 years old, and they'll owe a couple $100, and they are stressed out about it.
Wow.
And
yeah.
In my opinion, like, if you're that age, like, you've had so many years to practice budgeting and saving and stuff, you shouldn't worry about $500-$600 due to the IRS. But they do, because they're that tight.
That's wild. I mean, hopefully, because I think COVID time, people had, I don't remember what the stats were, but I mean, it seems like people had more savings then. I don't know if it's because they were getting free money from the government or not, but now it's like it's kind of flipped. Savings have gone down. Credit card debt's gone up quite a bit then. So I don't know if that's the case or if things will change from that. So
yeah, credit cards will get you 30% interest.
Yeah, that's Kelly and I have had to dig ourselves out a couple times from stuff like that, and it's easy to kind of snowball the wrong way with that stuff too. You get started with that, and you're just paying for, you know, groceries. You're not going out doing, you know, fancy vacations or anything, and that 30% interest working against you, that's not fun.
Yeah.
Ugh, don't do that.
Yeah.
So what's your best advice to somebody? Get your life in order with that stuff? Do that debt stacking, or what's
even if you're in a good financial position and you're not buried in debt or don't feel like you're buried in debt, I really recommend having some sort of budget.
Yeah.
Because things can happen. The unknown can happen. And you just want to make sure you're prepared. I mean, your car could break down, your kid could get sick, you know.
Sure.
Your furnace goes out.
Your furnace will go out. Yeah. I mean, stuff happens so often, and if you're not ready for it, it could put you in a way worse situation than if you just prepared for the worst.
Kind of budget for that then. Yeah. Because I don't care if you build a new house, you're still going to run into, like you said, the furnace isn't going to run forever. You know, things are going to happen, and life happens then too.
You still got to put furniture in the house and stuff too. So
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, we chatted long enough here then. But Mackenzie, so we'll put a link in here how to people to find you then. So where are you all at? Facebook, LinkedIn. You do like some shorts and stuff too. We'll have to give you some
Tax Tip Tuesdays.
Tax Tip Tuesday. There he is. Oh, I don't have it on the screen here, but we'll link that up then so you can see what that stuff looks like. You had some fun with that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fun. It's a good time.
That's I heard the producer. That's a real jerk.
Yeah.
No. That's Chris here doing ours. So, all right. Well, we'll let it go from there then. So, unless anybody else got anything last minute here to throw out there, Sarah's starting a new business doing consultating for. I do really like those. Those are pretty cool. Interior design. I like that a lot. That is cool.
When I have time. But
would you come out to my house and make vision boards for stuff?
Whatever you
need.
Oh
my Lord, that'd be amazing.
It'll cost you.
I heard she charges a premium.
Probably, right? Yeah. Hey, you get what
Especially
you pay for.
You.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Well, we'll leave that. Episode 22. Make sure you do all the things, like, share, do all that fun stuff. We want your questions. We want to answer those. Thank you, Mackenzie, for joining us on short notice. You did great.
Thanks
Appreciate
for having me.
Absolutely. And we'll see you back on episode 23. Thanks for stopping by.